The seventh Dalai Lama is a prolific writer and also great practitioner. So in one of his writing, he says, Thome chachun pomo sudala te kyang chaluk namjur podop chechung samado dugi misikewa nyam to duwe kenyam troji namji nangsundi kyowa. Many verses, beautiful verses like that. So he said that the seventh Dalai Lama, he said, whether you look to those who are high, those who are low, or to the ordained monks and nuns, or to the lay people, or to the male or female, to whomever you see, the only difference between them is difference in cloth and costume. Monks dress differently, nuns differently, men differently, women differently, high people differently, low people differently. The only difference is in their costume. Chalu costume, namjur, only difference is in their costume. Then expression. People who are high, they are a little bit arrogant. Those who are low, a little bit humble. So there is also difference in expression. The difference is only in costume, cloth, and expression. Chalu namjur, podop chechung samato. That means some are very arrogant and haughty, some are not. Chalu namjur, podop chechung samato. So that's the only difference. Underneath, dugi misikewa nyam to doga. Underneath, all are equal in experiencing one or the other types of suffering. Tende sungsa kenyam trokji namji nangsindu yowa. Alas, is this fate, the similar in fate of my spiritual brothers and sisters. Very, very telling and beautiful teaching and composition. So that's the truth. Whoever you are, multi-billionaire or millionaire or beggar or rich or poor, men, women, ordained monks or whatever, lay people, whatever. Underneath, everybody has a problem. Everybody has a suffering. So once you realize that fact, then you will be able to develop more kind of concern and compassion to whoever you see. The so-called president, prime minister, today, maybe tomorrow, unfortunately in many cases, maybe in the jail. And we do see those things also, especially in the case of wrongdoers. Or at least, again, he will be an ordinary citizen after his prime ministership or presidentship, his tenure. So what he is really saying is, it's extremely important to understand the reality and don't hang on to the appearance. Understand the reality. So once you understand the reality, you will feel some kind of consideration. Poor thing, yeah. His Holiness the Dalai Lama explained this point very clearly by saying that the kind of compassion we develop is very partial and biased. Because in our case, an ordinary person, when we see a very poor person, we might develop some kind of feeling or compassion and drop a coin or give something to eat, things like that. But as soon as we see somebody who is higher, richer, more famous than you, there is no trace of compassion to that person. Instead, we will expect and wish that I am also of same fortune and same status. So clearly showing that we don't have any in-depth understanding. We don't have any kind of in-depth understanding of the reality. So therefore, yesterday I briefly touched on the point, what is the meaning of human life? So likewise, if today I say one word about what do you mean by being a good person? What do you mean by being good? Because I suppose we are here to be good. to achieve some meaning in our life. You can be good, or when we say something is good or not good, we are definitely saying that that particular object or thing is giving that desired benefit in terms of its unique, special characteristic. A particular tree gives a particular beautiful flower, then because of that specialty you can say this tree is very good, very beautiful. Okay. So in the case of human being, when we say a good human being, it primarily means developing a good heart. And that development of good heart also primarily through using your reason, because the unique capacity of human being is to reason things out, which other animals do not have, other birds and animals do not have. We have this unique capacity to analyze, discriminate, and fathom and reason things out. The other day I said we got a big brain, big head, you see. So we need to use this big brain and big head, find things out for yourself, not simply following a particular tradition, not simply following somebody's hearsay. Even Buddha, when we follow Buddha, we should not simply say this is said by Buddha. You can say that this is said by Buddha, it must be correct, but let me analyze. Let me find out how correct this is. So it is through this kind of fathoming the depth, analyzing the depth of that reality, then if you are able to develop this good heart, okay, if you are able to develop this good heart, then you have become a good person. Okay? Then you are becoming So even when we talk about developing a compassionate heart, good heart, it has to be cultivated by seeing the benefit, by seeing the reason. His Holiness explained this very clearly by saying that we should be considerate and compassionate to others because we are all interconnected, interdependent. So that is to say that if I am dependent on this person, I am compelled to be nice and compassionate to this person. Otherwise, I will not get the desired need. You see? We need to be kind of compassionate to the environment, because from the environment we get what we need. You see? So it's because of this interrelated nature that you need to, the only way to get benefit within this network of interconnected reality is to be considerate, to develop sense of responsibility, and to be compassionate. So therefore His Holiness summarizes Buddha's teaching by saying that the Buddhist ethics or way of life is compassion, and the Buddhist philosophy or thinking or thought is interdependent origination. Okay? So therefore to be good means to do those things which is beneficial to everybody, including the environment, based on the understanding of the reality that everything is interdependent, interconnected. Okay? And especially when we talk about getting that long-lasting peace and happiness and shunning all kinds of sufferings, we need to realize the fact that kind of happiness can be very much dependent on the environment in which you live, and it's also very much dependent on your mental perspective, as I briefly explained earlier. So the environment plays a big role. So we have this responsibility to gradually cultivate that environment where our children can flourish, the society can flourish, then environment can flourish. Okay? Even in the case when the environment is not so favorable and disturbing, still your mental perspective should be such that it should not add fuel to the fire. Okay? You should be able to develop a perspective where you can take the best out of the given situation. Take the best out of the given situation. And it is always possible. If you see sufferings and problems as challenges, as opportunities for growth, you can always get a lot of things out of it. So what I'm really saying is that in order to get that long-lasting peace and happiness, which we all aspire, which we all dream, which we all want, that can be cultivated through changing mental perspective. It may take little time, but you live your life in such a way that you at least make some impact, some ripple effect to the people around you. For example, in the family, if the mother is peaceful, calm, naturally it will have its impact on the children. So that is the only way, that's the only solution. That's the only solution. Today I met a very interesting young man from Germany who is writing a book. And he told me that he is working in a big company. But he said, I have been working there for so many years now. It really looks like a prison to me. And I am not sure whether I am fulfilling the meaning of my life. So he's writing a book. He left that company and he wants to do something meaningful. So he was writing a book in that pursuit. Writing a book on how to, make a brighter society. So he came to interview me. So I was saying the same thing, you see. The solution lies in each and every individual. And we need to realize that there is no miracle. Ordinary person like us, we cannot probably bring about a change overnight. But this does not mean to say that we cannot make a contribution. So instead of thinking about the horrible things happening at a distance, the killing and other things that we hear all the time, instead of thinking about that and worrying about that and thinking that our world is horrible, it's hopeless, instead of thinking that, enjoy the peace here, create more peace here, more happiness here, you see. Spread the messages of His Holiness Dalai Lama, spread the message of the Buddha. So that is the solution. That is the only solution. So in this connection we need to gain knowledge. So that's why we are here, to gain those knowledge for one's own well-being, and also hopefully we can contribute a little bit towards the well-being of others. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama very clearly and repeatedly said that if you are able to benefit, say, 10-20 people at least in your life, then you have made your life meaningful. If possible, maybe a few hundreds and thousands. If not, at least if you are able to make the life of 10-20 people or sentient beings peaceful and happy, then you are making your life meaningful, and you have made the purpose of your journey into this world meaningful. Okay? So that is the goal. So let us quickly read the text. We are reading verse number 4, which is Arya Tathagata Unishtara. Arya Tathagata Unishtara. Suktur Javetona. Homage to you, Tara, the crown pinnacle of those thus gone, whose deeds overcome infinite evils, who have attained transcendent perfections without exception, and upon whom the sons of the victorious ones rely. So here you are paying homage to that Tara, who arose from the crown of the Buddha Vairochana. He came from the crown. Came from there. And who possesses Thai, means infinite power, infinite, unfathomable power, and who is able to do infinite benefit to other sentient beings. Thai, number giver, and one who is completely victorious. Thai, number giver, Choma, because she possesses a kind of knowledge mantra through which she is able to gain victorious to all the unfavorable situations and circumstances. Thai number java chuma, and in this way, she chuma means she engages in benefiting other sentient beings. Or you can interpret this also by saying that this Tara is the mother of all the Tathagatas. Because she is not so separate from the wisdom perfection mother, who is the mother of all the Buddhas. So on the crown of all these Buddhas, she gains total victory over the infinite unfavorable contradictions and harms. So she engages and lives in that form. Malu Porochimba Thoba, that means she has actualized all the Malu, means all the 10, without exception, all the 10 spiritual grounds. All the 10 spiritual grounds, which are transcendent spiritual grounds, Parurduchimba. That means she is a Buddha. Sorry, Malu Porochimba Thobe, Javesi Jishirutema. Not only she is a Buddha, but even the Bodhisattvas who have actualized the 10 spiritual grounds, who have transcended the 10 spiritual grounds, even they bow down to her. Malu Porochimba Thobe, Javesi Dusukiya Temba. They rely upon her, they bow to her. I would feel more comfortable teaching in Tibetan actually. But there are many who are interested in listening in English, so I'm using my... And regarding her color or physical feature, she is a golden color, which you can see. One face, 4 arms. The first hand is in the gesture of giving supreme bliss, and second is holding a rosary. The second of the right hand holding a rosary. The first of the left hand holding a pot for cleaning, and the second of the left hand holding a stick. Next, Tara. Hungta Dokvedolma. Hungta Dokvedolma. In Sanskrit, it's called Arya Hunkar Nadini Tara. Arya Hunkar Nadini Tara. Homage to you, Tara, who with the letters of 2 Tara and whom fill the realms of desire, direction and space, whose feet trample on the 7 worlds and who are able to draw all beings to you. So I pay homage to that Tara resounding with this syllable hum. Because she manifests herself in a form where she is doing this very strong chanting of the mantra Tutara, Hum and so forth. The word Tutara is said to be the queen of all the knowledge mantras. And her heart is the embodiment of the unification of emptiness and compassion, symbolized by this letter Hum. And with that sound that she expresses, the sound fills the whole Ndodan, means Ndokam Jitne Thamje Khawa. It fills the whole realm of the desire, space of the desire realm. Ndodan, Chok Chu Samal Khawa. Or fills the 10 directions. Namka, space. So the sound goes to all directions, including the space. Similarly, the 7 worlds, that is the form realm, formless realm, and so forth. The 7 world here refers to the Nagas, the hungry ghost, the demigods, human beings, knowledge holders, and one kind of spirit called Myomchi, and the abode of the Devas. So they are all trampled under her feet. Trampled under her feet means not physically trampling them under her feet, but this symbolizes her control over all these 7 worlds. She overpowers all of them. So this is all because of the blessing that is transmitted through her knowledge mantras. So that she is so powerful, she lives nothing. He is able to summon everybody without living anything. Which Lupameva means it also includes like the worldly, many worldly deities like Ishvara and so forth. She can summon all of them and make them work for her sublime activities. So she possesses such unobstructed powers. This Tara also has a yellow color, sitting on a moon seat, and her legs are in a Vajra cross-legged posture. One face, 2 hands. The right hand is in the gesture of giving protection, and the left hand is holding a yellow lotus. This is a beautiful book on Tara with all these photos. Last year before, when I was giving some talks in Darjeeling, and on my way I was invited to visit Phokar Rinpoche's monastery. So the Khenpo Rinpoche gave this to me. So these are the photos from this book. So I'm saying this because those of you who are interested must get those books and read. It's possible to get these books. 6. Arya Trilokya Vijaya Tara. Trilokya Vijaya Tara Sanata Didua. Jigdesumli number gave it. So this Tara is praised by, especially by saying that you are revered and respected by all the great gods of the world. Changsal, I pay homage to you. I pay homage to you. Changsal, I homage to you, Tara, because you are venerated by all these great worldly gods like Indra, Agni, Brahma, Vayu, Ishvara, and praised by the assembly of spirits, raised corpses, Gandharvas, and all Yakshas. Okay? Tadi lela wadu Changsal Jachi Changsal Sulasena. Jaji Mela Samba Lula Rawa Naso Wanchu Tuzuki and Charan Chubachisa is Chumas. Tanashin Jumbo Rola Tisa Namda Nuji Tuzuki and Charan Chasigi Yoris Chidu Chasigins. So therefore she is a Tara that has conquered all the three worlds. And out of the, so what this text is saying is that out of the 10 directional guardians, Jaji is said to be the guardian deity of the eastern direction. And then the Agni, the fire god, is said to be the guardian deity of the east and south. Is said to be the greatest sage in that direction. Then Brahma, who is the guardian deity of the direction above, And he's said to be the great kind of grandfather of all the gods, Mebo. Then Vayu, the deity or god of the wind, who is the guardian of the direction of the west north. And similarly all other guardian deities. And then Ishvara, who is very well known among the worldly gods. And similarly some of other lesser beings who are kind of followers of these other deities, that gods that we have mentioned, like the Buddhas, Jumbo, Roland. Roland means zombies, Zombies. This here Roland is not just zombies, but it refers to some kind of beings whose work is similar to the works done by zombies. So therefore they are called Roland. Sometimes we give this kind of nickname to people also. Here Roland. Here Roland. Something like that. So these are the beings who have some kind of power and who also possess some kind of miracles. Similarly, the king of the Gandharva, the smell eaters, Tisegyabo, Supingabal Sogananda. Similarly, Yakshas, who also said to possess great power, and who are said to be very difficult to tame, very difficult to control. So even this very difficult to tame and who are in very high position, they are tamed by the Tara, power of the Tara. So it could have several meanings. One, even this very difficult to tame beings can be tamed by Tara, who represents compassion and wisdom. So that means even the most horrible things, at the end of the day, the only way to control and tame and pacify these horrible beings is compassion and wisdom, which Tara symbolizes. So that's the meaning. This is not the meaning that there is a Tara who, holds swords and ready to chop into pieces all those who doesn't obey her. That's not the meaning. That the real meaning is that these all great Taras or Buddhas, they are manifestations of wisdom and compassion. So at the end of the day, that's why we are talking so much about the need to cultivate these fundamental good human values. Because at the end of the day, there is no other way but to take refuge in these good values. If we don't preserve these good values like love, compassion, wisdom, patience and so forth, sooner or later, today you may not follow it because you are rich, you are powerful, you have many followers. But sooner or later, you will come down on your knees begging for these values, regretting that you have not been able to cultivate these values in your life. We have heard the story of the great conqueror Alexander the Great, who controlled most of the Asia. And when he was dying, it is said that he asked his senapatis, to bring all those sacks of gold coins. And having put all those sacks of gold coins in front of him, then he spread his hand, empty hand, and died. To indicate that when you die, you can't take anything. You see? But this does not mean to say that we have to realize this only at the time of the death. Unfortunately, normally it is the case. People start then regretting and things like that. But even before that, when you are in great difficulty, then only solution. If you are physically sick or physically ill, then medicine will help you, not poison. Okay? When you are healthy and strong, you might even resort to using poison to kill other people or do many things with poison. But when you are physically ill and sick, you will take medicine. So similarly, when you are mentally sick and ill, the only solution, there's no shortcut, the only solution, because this is the way of the nature, is by cultivating this good human values. So all these taras represent that. So this tara, her color is red, sitting on a lotus and moon seat, and in a cross-legged bodhisattva posture, one face, four arms. The first of the right arm holds a vajra, and the second of the right arm holds a sword, and the first of the left arm is in a menacing gesture, and the second of the left hand holds a lasso, shakwa, lasso, L-A-S-S-O, lasso, not the Tibetan word lasso. Okay. 7. Golwan Jombetoma. The 7th is Golwan Jombetoma. Homage to you, Tara, whose te and fate destroy entirely the magical wills of others. With your right leg bent and left outstretched and bracing, you burn intensely within a will of fire. So here the Tara to whom you pay homage is the one who has special power to stop all the harms which is intentionally done to you through using magic or casting spell. So this Tara especially against those kind of harms done to you by others. So this Tara is in a very wrathful form, and who has manifested in a form where she is very, very skilled in performing all kinds of wrathful activities. So in this way she possesses inconceivable powers, and the mantras that she recites is also the wrathful mantras like te, te, which means dalva, meba charve, or the dal. Dalva is to banish probably. Okay. And fat, not the face, fat say there were fat, do the fat gear, see over fat sena, keva, not the prevent on pay face of the Hindi, fat gear, do the fat gear, see the chickwa is fat sena to split, go geva, to split the head into pieces like that, which means destroy. So in order to benefit other sentient beings from getting the harms, she arose in this form and recites that mantra. Similarly, she also possesses certain magical kind of formulas. For example, like throwing the grains, or for example, rubbing something like a spindle, in order to destroy somebody, you rub something, and then it will have its effect of destroying that wrongdoing. Or you place a grain or something like that to destroy others, things like that. So the end purpose is to help those who sincerely engage in Dharma practice. Because sometimes, we engage in very sincere practice and also try to lead a very good way of life, but sometimes we do get a lot of obstructions and hindrances. Okay, so here what is important to know is, sometimes, especially when you are young and do not have much life's experience, then we think that I am harmed by this evil spirit, that evil spirit, and so forth. So sometimes I jokingly tell people, this is a little bit wrong to always blame the so-called evil spirit, which you have not seen, which you are just mentally thinking. So there I tell people that don't think that there are many unemployed evil spirits sitting outside to harm you, and have no other job. It's not like that. The so-called evil spirits are actually exactly like us. For example, take the cases of a snake or a lion or a scorpion. They look a little bit frightening. But unless you harm them, normally they don't come to harm you. There are many cases of some of the meditators who are meditating. Then in their meditation heart, a snake comes. And then without fear, just sit there, the snake goes like this. Okay? And then there are some very good people who are very good in handling some of the snakes. They sleep with the snakes, So if you know how to live in harmony with many of these, they are not there, ready to find an occasion to harm you, whatever, without any reason. And then the so-called evil spirit, do say this, the real do is the negative emotions within yourself. Do means somebody who really harms you. One who really harms you is the negative emotions within you, but not outside you. And then unfortunately we never pay attention to that. Because whatever is within you, you always think this is part of me, so it should be good. Even if you get angry, it's my anger, so it should be good. It should be justified. So that's the problem. So there's a story of Geshe Lhakdor. Anyway, he was saying something like, if my mind is not seeing this evil spirit, there is no evil spirit in the ogress. He said something like that. There was an ogress appeared, so first he got a little bit, developed some fear. Then suddenly he said, why should I fear? It's my mind. Then he cited this verse, it's my mind which is manifesting, thinking that this ogress will harm me. Okay? So that's very important, your mind. Du Shishagarwa, Nyomo Buddhi, Nyomo Buddhi, Pung Buddhi, Chida Buddhi, Lay Buddhi, Dinan Bukyo, the Nyomo Buddhi. And then her right leg withdrawn and left leg outstretched. That symbolizes that she will not abide either in the extreme of cycle existence samsara or in the extreme of either in the extreme of samsara or in the extreme of nirvana just for oneself. Meaning that if you stay in the samsara, that's one extreme. So Tara is definitely not there. Then in many cases you may get out of the samsara and achieve nirvana. Not Buddha. You may achieve nirvana. Then you think, okay, I'm out of the samsara, it's okay with me. But according to the Mahayana practice, nirvana just for yourself is a little bit selfish. Still the rest of the mother sentient beings are suffering. So you do not rest there. You should achieve complete enlightenment. So Tara does not abide in these two extremes of samsara and nirvana. So therefore these two postures of the leg symbolizes her compassion and shunyata. Okay, it's because of shunyata, understanding of the shunyata, he will not abide in the because of compassion, he will continue to come again and again into samsara. Okay? And because of realization of emptiness, he may be able to put an end to the samsara and achieve nirvana, but still he will not abide there because of her compassion. Now the color of this Venerable Tara is black, and she is sitting on a yellow lotus and sun disk. And her, as we already discussed, her right leg withdrawn and left leg outstretched, and she has a yellow robe and has a crown made of jewel, and she also has bracelets on her leg, and has one face and four arms, and her hairs are raised and adorned with snakes. The first of her right hand has a wheel, and the second of the right hand has a sword, and the first of the left hand has a lasso, shakwa, and the second is outstretched and giving a menacing gesture. Okay. Next is Wangchok Terve Domala Namo. Wangchok Terve Domala Namo. Thank you, Korban Jombe Doma Sedi. Aya Arya Parmardini Tarasi Zere. Tatandadi, Wangchok Terve Doma Sedi. Arya Mari Maradani Shiveri Tarasi Gasare. Hirwa. Gebadrwa. Gebadrwa. Homage to you, Tara, the great fearful one, whose letter Ture destroys the mighty demons completely, who with a wrathful expression on your water-borne face slay all enemies without an exception. Slay is not really killing, it's destroying their negative emotions and so forth. Otherwise, it's horrible to imagine all these Taras killing everybody. So she is in a wrathful form. First homage is paid to her because she has controlled the negative forces and purified the two obscurations, and she is also praised in terms of her hand gestures of the right and the left hand, and she is also praised in terms of her crown and her laughter, and she is also praised because of assisting the 10 directional guardians, and she is also praised in terms of her ornaments of the headgear and the lineage holder as the lineage holder, radiating light with as the lineage holder, and so forth. So this refers to the subsequent Taras. So this particular Tara, Hungadi Dupachana Gimbetuna Jila Tangbo Pama Doma Junjo Wanchu Ma Wancho Teve Doma. So this Tara is praised in terms of having purified the two obscurations. I pay homage to that Tara who bestows the supreme power. Chansal Turen Chikwachimo. Ture means quick, swift. Turem Yurmas and Ning Hyandar Kuragi. Turen Chikwachimo. Tubeton Yunazo, the common. So she manifested herself in a very fearful form. So that is the meaning of Jikwachemo. Okay. Duji Power Namra Joma. Because of her greatly fearful form, she manifests herself in this fearful form, and therefore she is able to control all the evil forces. Duji Power Namra Joma. Duji Power, among the evil forces, there are many who are heroic, like the leaders of the evil forces. Tozo Saman Joma. Meaning, the Dugunan Power Karisar, who is the hero of all the evil forces, Suinsar. Negative emotions. Negative emotions. As I already explained, the 4 types of evil forces. Nyomo Bidu, evil force of afflictive emotion. Chidakidu, evil force in the form of death. Tenekarse. Pungbudu, evil force in the form of this psychophysical aggregate in which we are restricted, confined. This is an evil force. We are confined, No amount of exercise will give you complete freedom. Then there are some evil forces outside which also does some obstruction. So she is the one who completely destroys these heroic evil forces, including the 4 evil forces. Because she is in the wrathful form. If you look at her lotus face, it is in a very angry form, because her job is to tame the evil forces. So therefore, when we get angry with the wrinkles on our face, so similarly, she is in that form. And then as a result, she is able to destroy all the enemies. The real enemy is within oneself. Think of the page. His Holiness once told a very interesting story when I was giving initiation and when I was translating for him. So normally before any initiation, there is a ritual. The Lama performs a ritual where he offers some torma and butter lamb and things like that. And then that is to say that if there is any evil force here where we are receiving and giving the teaching, if you are here, please don't stay, don't try to disturb this peaceful religious practices. So please take this gift and go away. There's the meaning. You will see that right in the beginning of any initiation. Torma, some eatables, and butter and things like that. And then after that, the Lama sprinkles some water, saying that don't harm these people who are here to listen to the teaching, so go away. Okay? So that time His Holiness, instead of sprinkling that water outside, he sprinkled it to himself. He said, today I really felt like doing it to myself. Although the tradition is to smell it outside, but the real evil force is here, inside. I mean, amazing, because the real evil force, in fact, the leader of the evil force, Daisy, self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. They are the leader of all the afflictive emotions. They are not only within us, they are in the headquarter of our mind. They already captured the headquarter. And we have welcomed them and given them a very comfortable room. So they are relaxing and using us according to their whim. So these 2 evil forces, self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude, they have ruled us from countless eons. They are ruling us right now, and nobody is challenging them. So they are dictating us and enslaving us. So therefore, Shantideva in his Bodhicharya, he says that the time you ruled me and bullied me and destroyed me and exploited me was the time when I had no knowledge of Dharma. Now I know who you are. Now I know who you are. So I will never ever submit myself to your dictates. So that's the process of the practice. I mean, it's not easy, very easy to say, but not easy to practice. But that's the only solution. Slowly, if we think how much problem that self-cherishing attitude is bringing, Lojung Nime said Naladua, Nga said the Shukcheta Chun, Dukchi Jamna, Rwa, Toroji Chuk, Dukchi Jamna, Tabung, Gol Sagre, some dress. Zizi the Wajuna, Niamjo called me some dress. There was some good one, some Samuji Jamna Sukama, Nashi, some good one. The dilating Rama girl, because of this self-grasping, self-cherishing. We develop all kind of unnecessary suspicion, doubt, fear, you see. So that is the root cause of all the problems and difficulties. So this Tara is there to slay and destroy those evil forces. So this Aryatara is the one who destroys all the evil forces and gives you the supreme power. Because if you are able to get rid of all these negative emotions, you get the real power. So Buddhist practice means to dethrone the negative emotions and enthrone the positive emotions. Then you get the real power. Right now we have no power because we do whatever the negative emotions say, whatever the self-cherishing attitude say. Therefore we are not making any progress, any development. Okay? But if you are able to replace it with wisdom and compassion, then you will be able to make the right judgment. So her color is golden, one face, 4 arms, and sitting on a lotus and sun seat, and also there is a chusin, and sitting in a cross-leg posture, half cross-leg posture. And the first right hand hold is catching the branch of a tree, and the second is holding a precious jewel and giving the supreme blessing. The first of the left hand holding a lotus, and the second of the left hand holding a vase or Kubanamas. Verse number 9. Chosole Doma da Sinding Nagi Doma. Chosole Doma da Sinding Nagi Doma. Sinding Nagi Doma insere tadi diltes keja mangodo di doma ni kharchini kharase di nyora mangodo yu khirwa da zoba dirikha Sinding Nagi Doma teba. Arya Khadir Vanitara. Khadir Vanitara. Sinding Nagi Doma. Homage to you, Tara, whose fingers adorn your heart with the gesture of the sublime precious three, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha Sivare, precious three, adorned with a will, striking all directions without exception, with the totality of your own rays of light. You can see these two taras that's mentioned, the tara that bestows the supreme blessing and the Sinding Nagi Doma. You can see this as one tara. Okay. According to some explanation, but according to some explanation it says they should be seen as separate. But here it primarily explains this Sinding Nagi Doma. So her hand symbol is that she holds a upala flower, and she also has this hand gesture representing the three rare gems, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. So these gestures are not found in the other Tara, the Tara bestowing the supreme blessing. And this Aryatara is actually the basis of manifestations of all the other Taras. So you are paying homage to this Tara, whose thumb and the ring finger, the index finger, thumb and the index finger of the left hand is holding the stem of an upala flower at her heart, and the petals of that flower blossoming near her ear, and then it talks about this gesture of symbolizing three jewels, and that hand gesture holding at her heart. So this Aryatara itself is a kind of embodiment of the three jewels. Her mind represents Buddha, speech represents the sublime Dharma, and the body symbolizes the Sangha. And the light that radiates from her body goes to all the adorned with the will. That means from that will, light rays coming from that will, striking all directions without exception. Okay? So that means the 4 directions, 4 cardinal directions, the direction above and below, the 10 directions. So the light coming from her body goes to all these directions without exception. And the radiation that is coming from her body is so powerful that it's really like, looks like more powerful than the rays coming from the light of the sun. So her color is green. So in the case of this Tara bestowing the supreme bliss, then her color is like the Pemaraka, ruby, sitting on a moon, sitting on a moon seat, adorned with all kinds of adornments. And her first 2 hands are on her head, expressing great joy. Chaduk's Dua, expressing great joy. The second of the right hand is in a dancing manner, dancing gesture, moving gesture. And the second of the left hand is holding that stem or branch of the tree called Nyangeme. And that hand symbolizes giving a rainfall like blessing in the form of precious jewels. That's all. That